give you the white papers as well. Okay, people, please fold it in halves. And then here, right before, like start of the workshop, this is the end of workshop. And please count the number of people who supports position number 1, how many people supports choice number 2, 3rd, or 4th. So I want to see how did your perspective changed after the end of this workshop. That's why I need to know whether it would work with you or not. Should I adjust the session somehow? And also within your groups, when you take a choice, share your thought. Like, why did you choose exactly this position? You can write down your thoughts on the white paper as well. It's gonna be fine. Okay. 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 So, how many of you choose? How many of you chose line number 1? Raise your hands. So you strongly disagree. We cannot teach this topic at all. Wonderful. Line number 2, you disagree, but now you don't know why. Okay. You disagree. We can teach, but we don't know how, and we don't know why. Okay, that's cool. And lastly, strongly disagree. It is okay to teach. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. So you are not like me in certain sense. I was a bit unsure why we need to teach it. So, okay, human reproductive system is one of the crucial topics that the kids need to understand, especially at the age of 12, when they enter the age of puberty. But it's sort of a taboo in many countries, including our one. So in Kazakhstan, we, as a parents or as a teachers, we are a bit doubtful whether we need to take like advantage and teach them, or they will learn by themselves. So this idea raises a lot of questions, like, is it okay to teach kids this topic? If yes, like from where to start? There are lots of different things that we need to understand. And last one, does he or she even need it talk? Like, basically every kid can understand it by themselves as they grow, but the things are not so simple. Не работает сейчас. Okay. What did I think about the teaching this topic myself? So I already taught this topic in the 8th and 9th grade, but never in the 6th. So I was a bit doubtful. Aren't they too literate? What would the parents think if they know what I'm teaching? Like, you also think, like, imagine you as a parent and me as a teacher, and you realize that your kid at the age of 11, sometimes even the age of 10, and they are going through the reproductive organs of males and females. Well, will they even understand it? Because sometimes the kids may not pay so much attention, especially in the reproductive system organs. And lastly, what they think when they would it be even possible to teach, because 6th grades will love hearing the words like penis, vagina, or sex. So summarizing all these thoughts, you're kind of thinking maybe it's better even to skip this topic. Just cancel the unit and you will go to the next one. But then the next things, the next thoughts that you come on with. So even if I skip this topic, they still have this book, and the pictures are there. You cannot rip it apart. All pictures are there. What if they misunderstand the information? And in fact, in a couple of years, they will need this knowledge anyways. So what I come up with, if it would be better if I will explain everything myself. So I will be sure that they will at least interpret the information from the book correctly. Okay, next slide. Now, activity number 2, I also need pieces of white paper. Let's split in groups, so we have 5 tables. Write down your perspective on a paper and on the following 3 questions. Should 6th grade students learn about this topic? How are they going to learn about HRS if they are not taught in school before? How are you going to feel about learning it? And first group, you will write down it as a student. Second group, you will write down as a parent. And the last table as a government, you will write as group 2. Now, next table as a student again, and the closest to me, you will write down as a parent as well. Share your thoughts within the group, and also we'll talk about it together. Basically, in the second question, what I'm asking, if we will skip this topic, what are the other ways they can learn about human reproductive systems? If not at school, where else? Он открывает эту менюшку. Окей. Okay. Вот. Угу. You have 2 more minutes and we will talk in a public. Last minute. Okay, who wants to share their opinion? Let's start with opinion from the students. From the students, 2 tables. We have 2 tables as a student. Who wants to start? As a student, who is brave enough? Boss already? Okay, let's start. Yeah, as a student.
Okay, should 6th grade student learn about this topic? As a student, I think that yes, I should learn about this topic, but I want to hear this topic from my parents first, because if this is, I know that it's a sensitive topic, and for me it's very important to be prepared a little bit, but not from the psychologist or from the teacher or from the school. I think that for me it will be more comfortable to hear this topic from my parents.
Cool.
From my father, for example. If I'm a boy, maybe for a girl it's mother, but then it should be the first person, or it could be my brother or sister who is older than me. Maybe they're closer to me, so they can explain me some things. But I believe that it's family who is the first thing I want to hear the information from.
What about question number 2 and 3? Who wants to share their thoughts?
Okay, I'm going to Okay.
Let's imagine I'm not teaching you at
Yes.
school. What other ways?
Well, friends, of course. I mean, in the streets, we talk about it. They show us.
And how are you going to feel about like first ever hearing about this topic?
I think it will be interesting, very much interesting. I think I don't know but it should be very interesting. So it's kind of taboo in the society, so it's very interesting. I'm a little boy, I'm a little girl, so I'm very curious about this world, and something that is not permitted, not I mean taboo. I will go and search for it.
Запретный плод
Yes,
сладок,
запретный
да?
плод сладок. Yes, exactly. And so if adults will not talk about it with me, I will talk about it with my friends, with my just street, and maybe the information will be not correct, but I will believe them because it's very
Yeah, at their age, they still idolize their parents. Okay, sorry. You? Also as a student?
Hello, everyone. So as from the position of a student, me and my group, we think that, could you show the first question, please? Yeah, of course, we as sixth graders must be taught about about the sexual education and stuff, as we are teenagers and we are exploring our body and yada yada yada. So I think like if we are not considering the school, that our parents and siblings, like elder siblings, must be really like it must be their concern that like for us to learn about all these things, as it will be really harmful if we do it by ourselves or from our friends who like don't know about it either. And I think we are going to be very well engaged, as it's a new topic. It's things that like the things that have been around us throughout the years, but we didn't know about it.
Cool. Okay, now as a parent, let's move to the second theme as a parent.
Yes, our group is as a parent. I'm a parent. I have 5 kids, and this subject is the main subject in our family. The first question: should the grade 6 students learn about this topic? I'm saying that they should learn this topic starting from grade 1, but step by step. Okay, that when they will be in grade 6, they will learn the reproduction system, okay, in the other way. I will tell from my experience, my son was studying in Saudi Arabia. We follow American system. And in grade 3, they learn about the reproduction system, because when he came home and he told me, Mom, do you know how the baby's coming to the world? Yes, it happened this. I was like, oh my God, how do you know? Yeah, he opened for me a science book and he told me that this is what we learned today at the school. And I was so happy that he know that from the school, from the teacher, and they explain in a proper and a correct way, because we are the parent. Sometimes we don't know how correctly, okay, give the information for our kids. Now my son, he's 24 years old, and I'm totally fine. I'm okay that he knows everything. Now the second question: how I'm gonna learn about
like if not at school, other ways. What?
I said already. I believe that it should be from grade 1, and maybe we can start like about starting from our body, and then we from grade 2 maybe we can start talking about the mammals. The mammals have also similar system as the humans, and step by step, when the kids are growing up, and they will learn more and more.
And you would feel okay, yeah, if they would
I'm
learn.
totally fine with it. Yes, I want an old school here in Kazakhstan. They teach this system, yes, for the kids.
Wonderful. We have the second team as a parent group.
So now we are going to answer these questions from perspective of a parent. So there is no parent in our group, unfortunately, but we tried. So the first question is: should 6th grade student learn about this topic? Our answer is yes, but maybe only the fundamental information,
Mhm.
like construction only, and
Mhm.
etc.
Mhm.
The next one is how are they gonna learn about HRS if they are not taught in school?
Mhm.
Maybe from us, from a parent. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, by parents. And the last one is what are we going to feel about
Teaching
about
this as a
teaching
parent.
this? Yes, as a parent, that our children are learning HRS at school.
Mhm.
Maybe anxiety. I
Mhm.
think that I will be anxious if they are getting a correct information
Mhm.
and in what level.
Wonderful, wonderful. I would think that would be the same for most of the parents. And the last, Tim, you are talking about from the perspective of the government. Who wants to share this up? Okay. Anyone?
Okay, we as a government think that teachers should give just basic information for students of 6th grade, mm,
Mhm.
give instructions for the lessons,
Mhm.
control the process of it,
Mhm.
give some basic information. For example, starting teachers can start with just some statistics. For example, the life expectancy in different countries,
Mhm.
the age of women who give birth, something like that. And to avoid misunderstanding, because that age anyway students can start searching for information in other resources, some, for example, to ask from each other or on the internet, and teach this topic from scientific point, avoiding maybe some details, of course,
Mhm.
of the process, because they're too young to know it. So
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, this is the perspective. Thank you very much, everyone, because like I'm glad to have you here because I'm also learning from you because this is only 2 weeks of me teaching this stuff. So I also want to hear like what do other people think about teaching this as well. Now, what I heard from the kids. So this is a result of my personal observation. So we already conducted the summative assessment for the term, summative assessment for the unit as well. And also just the opinion during the lesson. What I heard from them, so the topic is good and worth mentioning, like 80% of the students agree with majority of you. They are really into it. Some about 15% do we need it, and which is small. They also considering that they are too small about learning. Now, it means that already started to understand something, but they are unsure whether they need it now or not. And lastly, only 5% of kids, especially girls, I don't know why, but usually it's girls, they were against of teaching me this subject. So the topic is inappropriate. So they were really uncomfortable me teaching this at their lesson. And it was quite a challenge for me. Now, also my observation, so the kids were way more involved than I expected. I was hesitated, like expecting there lots of laughs, but it was a bit opposite. So they laughed, of course, but as a child, like the appropriate amount, I would say, I was expecting way more of inadequate responses, but it was adequate, more adequate than I expected. Also, some kids even suggested me to split them by groups. So the separate section for the girls, separate section for the boys. Unfortunately, our school cannot arrange it because we were in a rush. Also, it's quite new school, but for you, you can suggest your the person who creates the timetable, suggest to split them by the groups. Also, I understood that some kids didn't understood the importance, but mostly they were boys, honestly, and also the girls of age 10 to 11. So it means as a standard, so boys entering the age of puberty a bit later than girls, and also some girls that still not in puberty age, so they don't really understand why I'm teaching it. So it's kind of fun. Extremely supportive to me, in particular, because sometimes boys try to disrupt the discipline in the classroom, and the girls who were involved, they kind of shout at them like, be silent, so I want to hear more, and so on. And honestly, I think that they realize the importance of hearing this. Yes? Да? Мгм. Нет, никакого консента не было, получается, нет, его не было. То есть, получается, мне выдали учебник, сказали, все, переходишь с системы госстандарта на Marshall и начинаю учить. И сразу же первый вопрос, как мне учить первый юнит, который такой вот как бы немножко рискованный. Да, то есть не было никакого консент-форма. Я хотел, конечно, создавать это, но предложить школе это сделать, но я потом понял, что это будет очень долго, и по итогу нам придется там, типа, допустим, первый юнит вообще кидать на вторую четверть условно. Потому что вы сами знаете, некоторые родители вообще просто даже не отвечают никаким образом. А как потом без полного консента собирать их и учить условно? Вот, и чтобы между ними конфликта не было, я просто на себя весь, если будут какие-то конфликтные родители. Сейчас мы увидим, как и родители думали об этом. И вы поймете, что на самом деле даже было хорошо, что консент я не взял. So now, as a parent, I also expected huge hate from them, honestly. I'm not a parent, so I don't understand how you feel about teaching this stuff yet, hopefully. Now, this is the common comments I received from them. We had a meeting with parents, and all of them coming to me saying, "You really teaching genitalia for the 6th graders?" Am I correct? Yes, we do. Now, but it was just the curiosity question, and then they're like, cool. Majority of them said the supportive comments, "You're really teaching the information about sex and genitalia in a positive sense." So interesting that now they will know it way earlier than us did. Now, also, it's better to hear it at school rather than in certain video. I also wanted to talk, but didn't know when to start or where to start. So I also received 1 to 3 comments, doubtful comments. Don't you think that they are too small for this? And when you just explain that it's okay, and majority of parents also support me, they kind of become to the green part. None of them went to the red part. And I received only 1 comment from 1 parent, extremely negative. So it was a dad, it was father. He asked me, "You really teaching?" I'm like, "Yes. I don't want my kids to hear it now." So I talked why? We just had a small chat. At the end, he didn't understand me, he didn't hear me. And what I received as a comment is that I need to talk with the administration about this topic. I think it's inappropriate. I was expecting me coming to the administration, but it never happened. I don't know how it's ended at the end. Did he talk with them or not? It's still a mystery. Okay, my other consideration. So, of course, hearing all of your opinions, можете вот это убрать? So, overall, we are allowed to teach this topic even at their age, but you need, of course, use a good material. So I received a comment like step-by-step education, or split it, the necessary topic at their age and other topics next stage. Of course, so that's why there are currently lots of materials, lots of videos, I mean, educational videos that you can use and start teaching your kids about the reproductive system. Of course, you need to be careful with delivery. Why? So, as you said just in a minute, it's sensitive information. And I literally received a comment from some kids. We are afraid of what our parents would think when they will know that I am learning it. This was like shocking for me, at the same time not so shocking, and I was like, okay, please explain them, like blame the school, blame me if they are extremely against of hearing this information. But you also need to understand that some kids still lack the skill of explanation, and some of them, especially at the age of 12, they are still afraid of parents a lot, and they may not deliver the information correctly. So explain the kid that they can refer the parent to the teacher or to the school completely, and that would be fine. Usually parents, we see here that majority of you support the idea of teaching it, but it's kind of depends on the delivery, not about the teaching or not. And the second also interesting case that I had one child, she had strong religious beliefs, and sometimes she hesitated talking about it. And so when I asked the question during the lesson, like just the oral question, and she hesitated to answer me, she said, I know the answer, but I will not tell you. I am like uncomfortable with that. So you need also appreciate it and kind of respect it. So you will, what I did, I allowed her to provide the answer in the written form only, because she was really uncomfortable of hearing these words or pronouncing these words and so on. Also, some comments, interesting comments from the parents that I received. So anyways, children are curious about why something only for the girls, something is only for the boys, why I'm not like allowed to use it or something. And those questions constantly puts the parent in a like into the situation where you cannot start explaining it, and you're doubtful whether or not. And they told me like it's good that they will hear it from you, and we will continue it at home. Also, another interesting comment, it was from the single mom. She said, I have a son. So for me, it's uncomfortable to teach him about the reproductive system. So probably the same situation if there's single dad with the daughter. So the gender difference also kind of makes certain impact of teaching. So I just received a comment, me as a dad, I kind of okay teaching my son, and probably for the girl, it's the mother who will teach it. But sometimes the life is different, and we have a single parents with the kids of the different gender, and it raises also some problems. So basically, overall comment, it's better to teach at school in an appropriate manner, but and rather than from the inappropriate sources, like you know. Now, I want you to compare the list of the sections from our Kazakhstan system and also Marshall-Cavendish system. So, of course, in the previous years, I taught only in our governmental standard. And what I realized that, firstly, in Kazakhstan system, we starting this topic, like really starting this topic from the 9th grade. While in the Marshall-Cavendish, they started at the age of 12. Now, the topics that are involved in Kazakhstan system, this is factual knowledge. So they covering the, sorry, back again. Назад можно? Назад. Не, наоборот, вперед туда. Вот. So the factual knowledge, just the types of organs, structure of gametes, it's sperm and egg cells, secondary sex characteristics like the body posture and so on of the male and female, contraception and sexual transmitted disease. So this is basically the factual knowledge, the one that's useful, but For the age of 12, this is very different. So they need to understand how they can care about them. What's the difference? What changes should I expect as a boy, or what changes should I expect as a girl? And in this system, they also covering the reproductive organs. I would say for the 6th grade is quite in detail. But what they constant question probably from the kids, how was I born? Yeah. And then, so this is a special different topic like child development and the pregnancy. Also, probably when they will enter the puberty, the voice for the boys will change. The girls have a very difficult stage, so they are entering the period stage, and there will be a lot of questions. And basically, there is a special section about the puberty and the secondary sex characteristics. And what's important is that they are also, I don't know why, but I really like that for the girls, they have a special page dedicated for the menstrual cycle, because it's so difficult for them. I heard a lot of different comments from the girls, and they said, look, now I understand what it is and what's so on. And the last one, also interesting topic, how they can care about their reproductive system. And if you will look at the meantime, you can just look past it, this book here, unit number 1, you can take a look and see all 4 sections that I mentioned. So what do you think about it? So who wants to take a comment? What do you like more? Our system, Marshall system, or you kind of like both in certain sense? What do you think about these topics? Whether they're appropriate or not? I'm not sure, because it's kind of but the caring, the pregnancy, puberty, wonderful topics, honestly. And when you will see the book itself, you will see the delivery. You can skim through the pages. It's really cool, because they are literally saying what changes occur with the boys, what changes occur with the girls, what should you expect. They also considering not just the physical changes, but also sometimes emotional changes as well. So they mentioned that so boys start to be attracted for the girls, girls start to be attracted to the boys, some psychological changes, so some of them start to be anxious, angry, or so on. And this is wonderful that they're saying that that's okay to feel like that. So I was really, really supportive. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our teacher was this topic, and they would tell us for us, you can study this at home by yourself. And that's why most of people were not remarkably okay when we were not, we were not educated. Yeah, we were not educated, we don't know many things. And what I see now from the new generation and even from my kids, because they took this subject at the school, but they educate them in a proper way. It's like using the scientific systems and the word and everything. It's not like, okay, what is the sex, what is the tennis, what is the vaginal law? Okay, and it is okay, it's fine for them, yeah. They educated and they know, yeah, it's all the human. They are like this, we are a human.
Yeah, but
God
it's
created
sort
us
of a
this
taboo.
way. And I had some also in our school, the grade 1 student, when they came to our school, I think that everywhere, they are small, 6 years old, 6, 5, 7, they always talk about food. Like they even draw like poop, and they're making fun. This is poop. But again, we had one of our science teachers, but today she's not here. She explained for them that the poop is fine. Everyone is poop.
Yeah.
Humans poop, animals poop, everyone is poop. When we explain this for the kids, they start to understand in grade one. Yes, that is our body. Yes, everyone is poop. It's not something like, wow, it's shame. Okay, this is a poop. Yeah. It's all must to come from the family, but sometimes parents, they have no time or they don't know how to explain in correct way. That's why it's a big job for the teachers also.
Definitely. Also, maybe my comment from my side. So as you mentioned that in the Soviet Union, they literally skipped this topic, even though it was involved in the book. So they skipped it. And what I ended up with, so at the age of 15, I was teaching my mom and her friends what's going on with, for example, honestly, some of them had the problems with the pregnancy, and I explained the echo and so on. And it was kind of interesting because you're sitting in front of 30 years old woman and you're at the age of 15 and trying to explain something, and they were really curious because, as you say, they kind of lacking this knowledge from the previous years.
Because even some women, they don't know about the period cycle, how many days and how it's worked. Yes.
Cool. I think we can continue also. Some teaching problems. So especially with the Marshall, so as you may know, they combine lots of theoretical and gamification knowledge, and usually they design their lessons on the 4 hour per week. So this is the common number. Sometimes it's slightly more, slightly less, but usually it takes 4 hours for each unit to cover. Unfortunately, in our system, it's different. We have only 2 hours of science per week. So you need somehow adapt the teaching plan. So now we will go to the activity number 3. I will provide you with section 1.3, 1.4 from the science book. So each one of you will take a lesson plan provided by the Marshall Cavendish and try to adapt the lesson for our time period. Can you help me? Получается, по 2 листочка подряд они лежат на одного человека. One, two, three, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, each one of you take one example of the lesson plan. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 here. We need 2 more. 2 more there. No, 2 more. Okay, thank you. And 2 more. So on top, you see that this lesson constructed for the 4 periods. It means that the lesson takes, so if you multiply it by 4, 160 minutes. Now imagine you have only 1 hour for this. No, 2 hours. So you need to decrease it by 40 minutes. Try to erase the things that are not so important. You have 5 minutes doing it individually, then also 5 to 10 minutes to share it with your partner for the pair. Okay. Таймер. Давайте на 10 минут поставим нормально.
80 minutes.
Да, потому что я же начал позже. So I need to decrease it twice the amount. So в 2 раза меньше вы должны его сделать, этот урок, из того, что написано. Можете в парах работать, можете индивидуально. На самом деле нет тут как бы... Можете вообще в группах, по идее, сделать это, если удобнее. Да, 160 минут. В 2 раза вы должны, получается, 80 минут сделать. Там, если что, по идее, косяк, там последние 20 минут, по-моему, не распечатались. Не ту страницу распечатали. Да, ну нормально. Мне кажется, даже это нужно достаточно, что можно сократить. So as you see, the first part was more about sensitive part, like how we feel. Now it's about teaching. Не-не-не, здесь, получается, 4 я вам выдал. 7 было бы слишком долго, если бы вы их сокращали. Да, то есть, получается, тут 160 минут, вам нужно в 80 минут превратить. Поудалять то, что можно убрать. Но при этом, как бы, смысл какой-то оставить, понятное дело. Как вам воркшоп? Да. Поэтому надеялся, что понравится. Алты? Тоже алтылар? So вот с той же книги. Там 4 секшена. Первые 2 я убрал, потому что, ну, типа, если бы я все выдал, долго было. Да, там прям готовые уже планы все. Да, все готово. Но только, получается, нужно все вырезать. А? Да, на конечно, там у них лежат мои ресурсы. На самом деле можно так, но я сейчас скажу, что у меня произошло. И, в принципе, это к вам-то очень сильно относится, потому что мы одни и те же классы учим. Как они отреагировали, и то, что у меня это, в принципе, не получилось. То есть я сейчас объясню, что у меня произошло, и, в принципе, я вот так сделал, я все сократил, и это не сработало вообще, короче. Они ничего не поняли. Да. Да. Вот именно, в этом-то весь прикол. Я такой сижу, думаю, как мне это все сократить? Там 13 юнитов. Да, ну и говорю, либо больше часов, либо сокращать lesson план. И такой сидишь, что делать? Я же... Ну, по маршалу там 4 часа должно быть. 4 часа в неделю, а у нас 2 часа в неделю только. Вот, видите? По маршалу. Science добро дали, короче, в школу. Это работа. Ну, Минде тоже климидовый всякий, вообще бредебай топик бредемис, да? Они сначала сказали, объедините. Я говорю, нет. Типа, это нереально. Я говорю, выбирайте одну и все. И то же самое у Дины, такие же проблемы были. У меня еще проблема, книг не хватает. У меня книг не хватает, короче, на всех детей. Мне поэтому приходится там, у того материала нету, у этого материала нету, короче. И я сейчас объясню. Я просто, типа, реально в old school превратил весь урок. Я так просто белый лист открываю на доске и пишу, короче. И они за мной пишут. Чтобы потом этих вот приколов не было. Я вот это не увидел на менеджбеке, то там не существует, зайти не могу. Я просто всю книгу дублировал туда. Ну, типа, она там не скачать ее, потому что, типа, там права, авторские права. Сори, никто ничего не слышал. Ну вот, пришлось потом адаптироваться. Ну, я по ссорам, по формативкам, то, что когда я перешел в old school, заметил, что результаты чуть получше. Да, сейчас покажу, да. Просто note-taking. Я их тетради посмотрел, там вообще они не умеют конспектировать ничего. То есть у них вот это вот потерялись, да, как бы навыки, они конспекты не делают. Да, вообще что-то вот рандомно еще, все так вот непонятно где. И получается, что ну, как читать это даже нереально. Поэтому я им вот так типа пишу, прям как конспект делать, как оформлять. И тетради прям каждый урок проверяю. Типа говорю, написал? Не написал. Ну, косяк. We can move on, basically. Okay, so hopefully somehow you enjoyed trying to make up your plan. Unfortunately, due to time restriction, we have to move on, but you can discuss it with me later or within your group, and it will work as well. So now I will share what happened to me. So you received the section 1.3 and 1.4. What I did the same stuff with the sections 1.1 and 1.2. I adapted it. I removed some parts, added something that I need, and so I thought that the gamification part should be included, and the theory will go at home and they will make some notes. I conducted formative assessment the next lesson, and I see it didn't work. What happened in my case? Students didn't write anything. So their notebooks were incomplete. Information is written in a way that you cannot follow it. And but during the lesson, you ask them, did you understand anything? Okay, They say they understood everything. And this is questionable always. So as from the formative assessment, I see that it doesn't work, and it works the opposite way around. With the IB's criteria A and D, you just ask the pure knowledge. Basically, the ordinary SOR, summative assessment, you're also asking the theoretical knowledge usually. And what happened that I gave the theoretical knowledge for to do at home, and they didn't do anything. So instead of making games and watching cool videos, some of the links are already within the lesson plan, and they're actually cool videos. So I decided to go old school. And what happened? This was our lesson. Dictation and note-taking, nothing else. So there is also another problem raised at our school. So unfortunately, Riviera is still receiving some books, and not all kids received them yet. So I have 2 classes with the complete set, 1 class with half of the set, and 1 class completely empty without any book, not the course book, not the workbook. So you need somehow to adjust it, and the best method I found, go old school, and this will work. So based on the formative assessment, on the summative assessment, I see that the results slightly raised. It's better, basically, I think. And yes, of course, we are liking the gamification part. Sometimes it's not sometimes, but usually it becomes a little bit boring. But this is school, what I am telling them. It's not the circus, it's school. So, and they like it sometimes. Okay. So, some insight. As we may know, currently many teachers prefer to introduce a high element of gamification to the lesson. I agree, it's really cool. It usually works, but it also may not work. From my experience, the highest grades I received from the students were from the summative during the summative assessment, where when I switched from the new school teaching, like when you're kind of dancing in front of them, you go back to the old school, and this works honestly better. What the advantages of going old school? First of all, you solve the problem of not having books, and you're 100% sure that the kids have at least written something, and you have enough time to check the notebooks, because some kids they losing their notebook every lesson, and each lesson they start a new notebook, and you like saying the information I give you from the last lesson will come to the summative, so please find your notebook, and they usually find somehow. They process information by listening, writing, reading, speaking. It works if they are active enough to ask questions. Of course, sometimes they are not asking questions. It depends on the class atmosphere. Some classes are kind of really competitive with each other, and they tend to ask questions. Some classes are super sleepy and they don't want to ask questions, and for them it's kind of taboo to ask questions because you're kind of become unique. I don't need to overthink about the lesson plan. So now if you're going to old school, what you need is to look to the information, understand what type of note taking they should take, and basically do it. You take the white page on the electron board, or you take the ordinary board with the markers and just the right information. And this works, still works. So by that, I solved the problem of some students not having the course book or activity book, and also you teaching them note taking. What happens in the 7th grade, they start to have physics, they have to start to have chemistry, biology, all of the science lessons are splitted. And every single lesson requires the skill of note taking. I'm pretty sure that languages also have the theoretical information, and sometimes it's also better to have the skill of note taking, but they lack them. And I think teaching them at the age of 12 still works and would be really beneficial, because what we usually say, we teaching them skills, not the information, and at least one skill they will master it, hopefully. Now, as a teacher, what I used as an emotional support for myself, first, as I said before, I don't have kids and I cannot fully understand how the parents feel themselves teaching this topic for the teenager. Secondly, what I felt, I blamed myself the very first lesson. Why did I even start this topic? I was so shy. I was red. Literally, I was staying red. I didn't know what to expect. And thirdly, I was extremely nervous, hesitated to conduct it. And of course, I was literally afraid of parents. Yeah, what will you expect if you're not a parent yourself? What helps? Talk to your colleagues. Some of them parents, some of them taught this topic as well. This works. So literally, thanks to my colleagues, they give me lots of support. And when you share whether it's okay or this one is okay, they kind of navigate you slightly, and you understand that it's not so wrong. It's okay. And we also see it in this audience that majority of you supported this idea. Now, the last activity, you still have your first piece of paper where you choose your answer. Now, I want to see whether you changed your answer or you still stayed on your, it's totally fine, of course. Or maybe you went backwards and you don't like it. That's fine. Also count the number of people. I just want to see it myself and count it at the end. Как раз 2 минуты и все. You can also put some reflection comments in this white papers because I will collect them. I want to see your choices. Да, можете комменты тоже написать в этих белых листочках, потому что, ну, мне тоже интересно, как этот воркшоп прошел. Для меня это первый раз проводить воркшоп в таком формате. Я проводил воркшопы только для обучения олимпиадной биологии и все, но это совсем другое. And of course, hopefully you enjoyed this workshop. Thank you very much. If you have questions, come to me. Thank you. That's it. I will collect these white papers later. О, ну, хороший вопрос. Блин, очень разные получились мнения. То есть, допустим, по большей части пацаны реально угорали. Ну, то есть, типа, прям они смеются на любое слово, особенно то, которое они знают, какой-нибудь там пенис условно, да, они вообще прям, у них вот такая улыбка до ушей. Но они не позволяют себе сильно смеяться, потому что, ну, все-таки чуть-чуть, ну, наверное, меня, может, боятся, или же просто как бы не позволяют. С другой стороны, когда они прям дозволяли, чаще всего это пацаны, типа, начинали разрушать атмосферу, дисциплину, и реально большинство девочек, вот, они их прям затыкали. То есть, типа, все, тихо, короче, тебе не интересно, мне интересно, пошел нафиг, короче, я же. Вот, они серьезно так разговаривают. Вот, и все, и ты такой сидишь, блин, классно. С одной стороны, ты видишь поддержку, с другой стороны, не очень. Но в то же время самый жесткий коммент я тоже получил от девочек. Нет, это нельзя, типа, учить. Я не буду, типа, с мальчиками. Зачем мальчикам знать менструальный цикл? То есть, допустим, ну, тоже как бы вопрос, да? Зачем мальчикам знать менструальный цикл? И такие, типа, а зачем им знать, какие у нас изменения в теле происходят? То же самое, я не хочу знать, что происходит с мальчиком, что у него увеличивается, а что у него уменьшается, там, условно, я же. И ты вот просто не знаешь, как на это ответить, потому что ну, ты такой, типа, это окей, это знать, типа, по-любому в будущем понадобится, но они тебе иногда не верят. Вот. Подобающе ответил или нет, но я что им сказал, говорю, вот представь, что ты вырастешь, там, ну, понятное дело, возможно, будут дети. Представь, что у тебя будет сын, типа, да, и тогда тебе нужно будет знать, как себя вести и что именно с ним происходит. Я не знаю, то есть в 6 классе они все еще там фиг поймут, что там возможность детей имеется, но это то, что мне первое в голову пришло. Но, опять же, я не знаю. Допустим, мальчики вообще в целом, типа, не догоняли важность этой темы, но мне кажется, им тоже можно такое говорить. Ну, похожим образом, типа, почему там, типа, сестра себя чувствует плохо именно сегодня, типа, я же. Ну, как бы это они поймут, но иногда ты просто такой думаешь, блин, но как мне именно из-за тебя, из-за одной, типа, просто закрыть урок, что ли? Ну, это нереально. Вот. Она, конечно, себя прям, ну, гневалась, сидела. Ну, как бы, с одной стороны, первое, что нужно делать, реально просто сказать, типа, это окей. А второе, если продолжает себя вести не похабно, ну, условно, то это вот просто rebellious, я говорю, окей, говорю, можешь сесть в конец класса, типа, не слушай меня вообще, в принципе. Но, ну, понятное дело. Я знаете, что им сказал? Я говорю, у вас будут emotional changes, и получается, ну, типа, вас начнут привлекать девочки, а девочки начнут привлекать мальчики. Они сказали, фу, никогда. Да? Ну, вот видите, они этого не верят. Сейчас они не поверят. Ну, ты им скажешь, они такие, ай, стирают. Ну да, да, можно. Почему нет? Ну просто эта методология не прописана у нас. У нас почему-то происходит, что до 8 класса тема размножения затрагивается со стороны только растений, иногда чуть-чуть животных. Ну там очень много схожести с человеком, конечно, естественно, но в глубине ничего не проходит. И проходят реально прям от начала хорошо до конца, считается, это 9 класс. Раньше было, ну, в советское время 8 класс. Сейчас, наоборот, еще сдвинули дальше. Хотя, наоборот, общество получило больше источников информации, и по-любому дети получают ее, где бы они ни хотели. Капец, там, если parent control не включен, у них столько может всего прилететь, короче. И они реально, они надо друг друга подшучивают. Я как бы замечаю, что, допустим, пацаны друг друга типа обзывают, ну, грубо говоря, что один пацан смотрит порнографию, короче. Я же говорю, да ты там, братан, шаришь, типа, ты уже много раз что смотрел, ты каждый этот орган, типа, вблизи видел, типа, условно. И они подшучивают друг друга, ну, типа, на переменах ты это слышишь, там, типа, на уроках шептаются они. И ты понимаешь, что по-любому источников информации много, они часть вещей по-любому сами даже узнают. Ну, просто лучше им именно со стороны, как бы, да, в данном случае биологии, полностью пройти от начала до конца, как бы, причем я считаю то, что у Маршалла классные темы, там не такой упор на структуру, сколько как на изменения, как раз-таки, которые в 12 лет происходят, потому что когда в 9 классе ты проходишь, ты эти все изменения уже на себе почувствовал, тебе уже просто пофигу на самом деле становится. А так нужно детей подготовить к этому возрасту. Блин, я не знаю, ну как бы очень интересно. Еще раз? Мгм. Стартап откроем, да, такой? Sex education for teenagers, да? Да. Да. Ага.
Растение, цветок – это орган размножения растений.
Да, да.
Что это такое вообще орган размножения? Они уже учат
Да.
растения, То есть, что такое решение, да, например,
Мгм.
может дать, то есть, не понимаю, своя мать, что такое решение. Да, я не знаю, что это проводится, да, например, с такими, да.
А прикиньте взгляд детей, когда я сказал, размножаются клетки делением. Они такие, все, что они слышали, это умножить в математике, делить в математике. А ты говоришь, они размножаются делением, они такие. Как это? Да, да, да. Я закончил. Можете на обед отправлять.